Hello friends and enemies, we have a very loud snoring Millie in the background, so I'm gonna go ahead and preemptively apologize to you for that, but I'm also not gonna wake the princess from her beauty sleep because obviously she needs it very badly today. Yeah, we did have a very busy day of sitting in the sunshine, right? So I am here because I am a hater, if nothing else, from my last video about book covers. I kid. I'm not actually a hater. We know I love the romance genre if you're not new here. If you're new here, I love the romance genre. It is one of my favorite things. I'm very passionate about this community and the way in which we communicate things via our book covers, obviously. I asked in the video on Tuesday if y'all wanted a video where I talked about covers I love. Before we dive into this, I do want to give a thing here. Are the things I'm going to show you be things I talked about not liking? Possibly some of them. But I think I wasn't clear enough in the last video that my biggest complaint with illustrated covers are ones that are, as I'm terming, blobby. They don't communicate anything about the book. It's just really crappy silhouettes of people that we know for a fact are being done pretty cheaply on purpose. Like, it has been a discussion in the romance space for a little while now, some of these covers, and it's just a lot to be said for how that's working, right? I'm not and was not shitting on any independent authors who made their own covers. That's hard. You're not really included in this conversation in that way because I give a lot more grace to my indies, but I still get frustrated when every rom-com looks the same, right? So on from that point, I'm going to show you all the contemporary books I love. And we're going to start off with an illustrated one because it's Delilah Green Doesn't Care. So there's a quick close-up of the cover. I'm going to put it down and throw up a digital so you can really see it and see what I'm talking about. But what I love about this cover is it shows the house where this wedding's happening. It shows Delilah with all of her tattoos. They both have faces and expressive faces. You feel like you are seeing Delilah and Claire on the page, like right here. I do think Claire was probably larger than is depicted here, but it works for me. Delilah is very alternative. Like, this works because I feel like it matches the story and what's inside. They're holding hands. So you know there's some sort of romantic element, although, you know, some people are going to be like, they're just friends. But those people can shove it. Okay, the next one is downstairs, because of course it is. That is Forget Me Not. This comes out in July, and this is one of my favorite covers of 2023 so far. This is published fic. I'm trash for published fic, we know this, but I think this cover communicates this book really well. This is pretty much how I envisioned both characters. Even without knowing fic, the way they're described, it matches this cover. The floral background works because our hero is a florist. And so that makes sense. And there's coming up at a second chance at love, and I feel like there's some tension in this cover, and you can kind of see that tension. I think it's also, again, well detailed, which is a key point here for me with illustrated covers. I like a well detailed cover. If there's no details, I don't want it. I'm not a fan of the blobs. Next we have Gray Hair, Don't Care. This is one that was a cover when it came out. I was so excited because we don't get a lot of gray haired heroines on the cover of romances, and I think it's something we need more of. So they aren't touching, which is like my least favorite thing about this cover, but you can see him looking at her like, oh, and like she's very confident, which our heroine in this book is very confident, very sure of herself, has embraced her gray hair, and it's a second chance romance, and the male character on the cover, similar to the one in the book, kind of has Keanu Reeves vibes, so it worked for me because I felt like, again, the cover matched the contents. All right, next we have another sapphic one, and this is a no, there's no faces on the cover, but that's Hairpin Curves. I really like this cover. I think Karina did a good job. This is a road trip romance. So like the title, the cover, it all ties together well and it makes sense for the story inside. This is one of those books I really enjoyed a lot when Karina first launched their Adores line. But I think this cover is perfect for the book. It fits the story. It's a pretty sweet story, but it does get a little sexy. And it just was a fun time. So I feel like Hairpin Curves really fit the bill. Like, this cover really fit the bill for what's in this book. Okay, next we have If She Says Yes. This is a human model cover. This is one of those books that I absolutely loved. And I think the model on this cover is gorgeous. He's stunning. And the story is an older woman, younger man, and it's her son's best friend. I think this cover fits pretty damn well to that story because it is a really sexy story. There's a lot of sex in this book. the cover has abs, he's attractive, like there's a lot going on here. And I think it works for what this book is. All right, next we have Anna Wong. So I'm gonna hold up some of her discrete covers that I love. So this is what I'm saying. Like there are covers I like that are in the thing I'm complaining about, or alternative covers is what I really prefer to say for this. So we're gonna talk about Anna Wong's alternative covers. First up, we're just gonna quickly talk about the current series, the Greed series, King of Wrath, King of Pride, and King of Greed, which I've not read yet because that's not out. But those covers fit those books really well. Like King of Wrath, she comes from a jewelry family and is like betrothed to him. King of Pride, Kai was so good. I need to re-listen to that book. Anyways, Kai, like this cover fits with Kai and our heroine like perfectly. Her name's Isabel. So, but then like even with her Twisted Love series, I personally wasn't a huge fan of her male models on those covers. I think on this one in Twisted Love in particular, he had like glowy eyes. I don't know. So this is Twisted Love, which is like fine, whatever. It's kind of fresh and bubbly in a way, which that is very much a brother's best friend romance, if you ask me. But then like Twisted Games has the crown and the pearls, which fits. This is a royalty romance. It's Princess Diaries 2 retelling. Twisted Hate has like fire on the cover, which I feel like fits because they're very fiery with each other and do not like each other. And then Twisted Lies has pearls on it and butterflies and some sparkle, and I also think that fits pretty well. Again, I don't think these fit as well as her Greed series for discrete covers or alternative covers, but I do think she did a really good job like putting elements there that tie in to the book. All right, next we have Kink Camp, another steamy cover. So this is the old cover for Kink Camp. It got republished under Hunted, I think. Something like that. I love this old cover so much though. I'm a little sad. There was a whole issue with Amazon, but this is a book with Primal Play and they're literally at a kink camp and he's like grabbing her. It communicates so much about this book. So much. And I just think that it's like the perfect cover for that book. And it's so steamy and that book is so steamy. Like it's so good. I love it. Okay, next we have Kennedy Ryan, which like I love a lot of her covers. I do think Real is one of her best covers to date. They did do a shoot for this, which like amazing. But it features our characters on the cover and he is the director, so he's in a director's chair. She's on his lap. And the way they're looking at each other, like if you walk by this, you know it's a romance. You know it has something to do with movies or TV. Most likely, like without even reading the back. Like it has that energy like perfectly. So I adore Real, and it's another one that, like I said, I feel like fits the book's content to a T. Like absolutely perfectly. Next we have another illustrated one. This one is available for anyone with Prime or that does Amazon First Reads. This is role playing. So I do have one critique, and I do think it's valid. I've seen this critique for this cover a little bit. She's supposed to be 48 and he's like 50, and there's not a gray hair in sight. And they both just need a little bit of gray. But I love how they're like cuddled up together on this cover. You can tell it's a romance. Like you can tell that it seems kind of cozy and it involves video games. So like cozy on the couch makes sense to me. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know if it fits, but I feel like looking at this cover and what I know about this book, it fits. Okay, and now it's Olivia Dade's moment. And my God, y'all, is it a moment. I couldn't find all the feels, so I'll put that up digitally, but Olivia Dade has been giving us fat girls on covers, and I live for this. So we have spoiler alert, which again, we have a like apron belly and like lumpier butt. Like I love it. We have 40 Love, and I think all of these are Lenny Kaufman. Yeah, all the illustrations for Olivia's seem to be Lenny. This is the alternative cover for Shipwreck. It's often behind me while I'm filming. If I was taller, you'd see it more. But this is the normal cover. And like, oh, I don't want to drop that. That's my signed book plate. But yeah, this is the alternative cover that you got for pre-ordering it. And I'm obsessed. Like, I want this. If you're going to give me illustrated, I want this. You know, I want the hair grab, the clench, and this is like a take on Tender is the Storm, which, oh shit, I need to get that out for historical. Hold on. And then we also have like all the field. Like I think Olivia in general kills it on the illustrated cover game. And I'm not going to deny Fat Girl Rep. I love it. I love to see that happening. Next we have Angie Peltier or Peltier. I'm not sure how to say her last name. Sweet Hand in particular is a cover I love that is a baking related romance. I feel like it communicates it well. He's in music, he's got the headphones on. It makes sense. It works. Again, stunning illustration. It is detailed and gives me indication about the book. Next we have The Fiancé Farce, which just came out. I have been obsessed with this cover since I originally saw it. Because y'all, this cover, like, oh my god, this cover is amazing. It's everything. But I would love it even more if it was real people. All right, next we have one of my favorite books. One of the books I recommend to the most people when they want to try romance and they have a lot of preconceived notions about romance. In fact, I have multiple editions of this book. I didn't pull them all. So I have The Kiss Quotient. This is one of the original illustrated covers. I feel like this kind of kicked off the trend. But even though they're like to the top, like they have details here, you know, she has glasses, he has eyeballs, they're not just like blank faces. So I feel like this conveyed Stella and Michael pretty well. I think it kind of told you it was a romance because they're kissing on the cover, because I feel like this without that you wouldn't know what it is, even as the title saying The Kiss Quotient. But I also have this edition of The Kiss Quotient, one of my 4 editions. This is a classic kiss cover clinch that they gave it, which I also think does an amazing job portraying what this book is, and I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with all of it. Okay, next we have The Ritual by Chantal Tessier or something. So this is one I haven't even read, but I love this cover. Every time I see this cover, I'm like, ooh, I need to read this. And that's because this cover shows me very quickly that it's dark romance, and I've just not picked it up yet, but I really, really do like this cover. Then we have Unhinged, which I have read and really enjoyed, and I think this cover fits the series really well. It follows brothers who are psychopaths and definitely like morality chain-esque, where they're only good for their partner. To some extent, and a little bit for each other / their dad. It's a whole thing, but I think these covers actually fit these books really well. Like there's the dudes, the snake, like it just gives the vibes of this book, which is pretty dark for its content, but also weirdly cozy. Okay, next we have Waking Up Married, which I think this cover perfectly displays this book's content. They literally wake up married in Vegas and they decide to go with it, and it's just it's a pretty smutty book for being Harlequin, like more than some people may expect from a Harlequin, which Desires tend to be actually pretty sexy books overall. But I just think this like showed us the characters really well. I just think it had a lot of visual interest and it grabs your eye really quickly, and I think it fits, again, that story. Last for contemporary, we have You Had Me at Ola. I lost my mind when this cover was announced. Yes, again, this is another one of the illustrators that I think got mentioned in that video, in my like covers I hate and issues I have with covers in my rant. And I agree, this is one of the illustrators I absolutely adore in covers. And I think this cover does such a good job communicating this book. You know, they're kind of clinched together, touching, but it's not maybe the most like welcome touch because they're both telenovela stars. And I just think it fits the book so well. And again, is absolutely stunning. Let's talk paranormal and aliens. We're gonna kick it off with, honestly, I don't know if I would have collected this series, honestly, if they didn't get recovered, because though I love these books and they hold a very, very special place in my heart, because I have, I mean, they got me out of some tough times. So that's Ice Planet Barbarians. I think these are wonderfully done illustrated covers. These convey the story. So this is Barbarian Lover, which is one of my favorites because you can see she has like a hearing aid situation on her ear. Like something's going on because she does have an issue with her ear. You have the first one, which is Ice Planet Barbarians. And let's see, we did Barbarian Lover already. Then we have Barbarian Mine, which it's hard to see on here, but you know, there's detail here. You can see them. We also have Barbarian's Prize. Like, again, I am obsessed with these covers. I think they're stunning. They're really well done. The spines are great. Like, each girl is on the spine too. Like, this is what I want. Like, I would love for more alien romances to have covers like these because I would be all over it. Like, give me that clinchy, like this. Like, give me more clinchy, like, illustrated aliens. Any day of the week. I'm here for it. Next we have Blood Moon by Gillian Graves. This one, I'm realizing I'm not saying every author, so I'm just gonna say the book name. This is one of those ones that I would get an art print of and hang it up in my room because this cover. The way he's like grabbing her leg, her face. It also fits this book really well. She's a really tall woman. She does have pink hair in the book, and he's a vampire, and it just fits the two of them to a T. Like, that is how I envisioned her, and that is how I envisioned him. I love this grip. The way the blanket's draped, perfection. Another one I really like is Heart Haunt Havoc. This one I think, okay, this one, the first caveat I'm going to say is I do think a lot of people will confuse this one for YA. But I do think it fits the book really, really well. Not because it's YA, but it is more of a fade to black romance. You're getting more of them, but you're getting them together, but like it fades out, right? It's not too intense, we'll say. And I think, you know, the monsters in the house and our two characters, Bishop and, oh my God, how did I already forget his name? Bishop and something. They're on the cover. They look great. Like, I just think this is really good. It's very well illustrated. It shows characters. And again, it's detailed. Next, we have Sapphire Flames. I love this trilogy's covers, particularly for Catalina's books. I think that they capture these stories perfectly because Catalina is, like, very pretty, or ends up dating a guy who is like stunning, like Instagram model, and the way they're posed on the covers fits the story as it progresses, in my opinion. Like, they kind of get closer together on the covers, so I just really love them. I think it just does a good job reflecting what the book is. Let's talk monsters, one of my favorite subgenres of romance. So first of all, I am obsessed, and I need to get a physical of this, with A Soul to Keep. I love this cover, y'all, so much. I'm obsessed with this cover. This cover is what initially drew me to this book. I think all of these covers are good, but A Soul to Keep in particular is a favorite. I think it matches the story again. Our heroine looks similar in the book. Our hero, monster, also looks similar in the book. I just think these did a great job showing us what this is. And then, like, I feel like a given in the monster category, I'm only gonna hold up one because all of the other ones are way up high, and again, I'm short and I don't want to get a step stool. So Dragon's Bride. I'm gonna show this one big in a minute, but y'all, her handcuff to him in this, like, yes, it gives me classic romance vibes, but I know it's a monster book. I know I'm gonna have a fun time with it. All of these covers, though, scream classic romance to me, while also showcasing, like, monsters. So, like, Katie's artists for these are fantastic. And I do want to note, they sell prints for these if you really want prints also. But truly, like, I am obsessed with these covers. I think they, at least for the, I haven't read the whole series, but for the first book, definitely captures the book well. I think it works really well. It shows their size difference really well. I think it just gives so much, all of these covers, indication for what you're walking into. And that's going to be probably a romp of a time at the very least that you may or may not enjoy. Next is another person who does stunning covers. And I don't know if everyone knows this, her own covers. This author designs these covers. She paints them on, like, Procreate or whatever herself, I think. I think it's Procreate. Either way, this is Lillian Lark. And I'm just throwing up covers because I, like, Deceived by the Gargoyles in particular is a favorite. And I'm obsessed with every single cover she's done so far for her series. Like, these are all fantastic. I'm dying for a matching Stalked by the Kraken cover so I can just get them all for my shelves. But these will be living on my shelves permanently. Like, there is no world that I'm not owning all these covers. And I just, like, cannot get over, like, the Deceived by the Gargoyles fits the book perfectly. I mean, there's 3 gargoyles, but either way, it works. Like, it just looks so good together. And I love them so, so much. Then I also have Morning Glory Milking Farm, which maybe will surprise some of you. I think this recover for that one is also spectacular. I think it looks so, so good. I truly cannot believe how good it looks at times. I feel like the original cover is very campy and, like, weird, right? With the milk jug and the gloves. And I'm kind of mad at myself because I didn't get that cover. So if anybody has it and doesn't want it and will sell it to me for not an arm and a leg, hit me up. But I love that cover. But this illustrated cover is the one I'm getting at Steamy Lit or RomCon. And I truly cannot wait to have it on my shelves because it's just beautiful. Like, it's so well done. Next, we have another favorite, which is, this is one where I feel like the title tells you what you're getting into. It's Railed by the Easter Bunny, but Dahlia has been recovering these, and these recovers, I'm obsessed with. So she's been recovering them, and I've just been thrilled every time I see one get recovered. So this is the current recover for Railed by the Easter Bunny. You know you're getting Banana Pants story here. Like, that cover, you know immediately what you're getting, and that is banana pants. So it's perfect for the title and what the book's about. Next we have Sing Me to Sleep by R.M. Virtues. This is one that I don't think communicates romance well, but it does communicate this is going to be different. This is going to have some horror-esque elements, and it does because it's a romance with a sleep paralysis demon. What more do you need? And he has like giant antlers, and there it is on the cover. It's so good. So good. All right, let's talk about historicals. I think historical is one of the areas that's going to suffer the most as this trend continues. So like I just don't want people to like change this trend too much, because I think girls in pretty dresses, it's like a staple. And I mean, I already miss step backs immensely, so we're go through it. We've got A Caribbean Heiress in Paris. I love this book. I really enjoyed it when I read it. I think this cover is really fun. You've got the florals to indicate that she's Caribbean. You have the Eiffel Tower to show she's in Paris. Her dress is beautiful. I think this is a good cover. I think it reflects the book well. I think it just works. So I have some of these. I don't have all of these. And these unfortunately are not step backs either. But Sarah McLean's, this trilogy, Scandal and Scoundrel, has these girls on chases. Some of my favorite Sarah McLean's to date. But I'll pop them up all here because I don't have all three. And I thought I did, but I don't know. Losing my mind. It's fine. So I love these. I think these are great. I think they reflect the story well. I love that they're all on the Chase Lounge and they look just stunning in those dresses. Another one that I also adore and think captures the book really well is Destiny's Captive by Beverly Jenkins. So Destiny's Captive, it's about a woman who's a pirate and she takes him captive for a hot second. His name's Noah. And this is a delightful one. If you haven't read this one yet, I highly recommend it. But also, like, this cover does things for me. I love it so much. One where I didn't like the book, but I love the cover is Her Night with the Duke. I think this is one of those books that didn't work for me, but I do think this cover is stunning. I love how he's like shirtless in the background and she's like slightly ruffled. Next we have another sapphic that I love, which is A Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics. This is going to be hard to show without reflection. But it's the two of them kind of like in an embrace in their like beautiful dresses. She's more of a working class woman, so she's dressed down, and the other one is obviously not. So she's in a much prettier dress, and I just love the way she's like touching her face. Obsessed. Next we have a gay romance. So we have Cat Sebastian's Lawrence Brown Affair, which was one of my firsts by her, and I love this book. It's so cute and it's so fun, and I think this cover is pretty well done. I do try to take into consideration that a lot of the gay covers for historicals are photoshopped, and that can create some wonkiness because there's no choice. There's no models to use. You have to like put two together. And I think this one did a really, really good job with it. Then we have Sea of Ruin, which is a book I hated. I absolutely hated this book. But do you know what I don't hate? The cover. I love the cover. Like, I think this cover is stunning. But maybe she's thinking because the book's bad. Maybe. I'm kidding. If you like the book, it's fine. It did not work for me. It was hyped as being so like dark. No. And then I read it and I was like, what? So I had different expectations, and it happens. It's okay. Then there's The Companion. This is a cozy romance set in the 40s, and I think this cover demonstrates that pretty well. It is polyamorous, which you don't really get from the cover. But yeah, I think this cover works really well for the time period and where it's set. And then Sophie Jordan. Okay, first of all, just Sophie Jordan in general kills the cover game. I don't know what it is about her covers, but they kill it on her covers regularly. So first of all, we have The Duke Starts a Hunt, which I love, where the woman has him like pushed up against the wall. Spectacular. But there's also The Virgin and the Rogue, where she's pushed up against a wall, and I love this cover. I have it right here, but I'm gonna throw them up together. I love the tension in a lot of Sophie's covers. There's a lot of tension and like just sexiness like coming off of those covers, and I adore it immensely. Next is the classic and will forever be a favorite, Tender as the Storm. I thought I had it somewhere. I can't find it right now, but you know, this cover, I feel like gets pulled out all the time, but I would be remiss not to mention it because I just think it is an icon of the romance community in the best way. And I love it. I'm obsessed. Absolutely obsessed. Another historical that I think is a classic similar to Tender as a Storm is Dreaming of You by Lisa Kleypas. I have a first edition. I love this step back. We'll see if I can grab a better cover of it, but I think this is one of those situations where like I would buy a print of this. I would buy a print of this in a heartbeat. So I think this one also captures the story pretty well. She's pretty bookish and he's kind of a rogue-esque character. And now I need to go read Dreaming of You. So yeah, that's a classic and a favorite. All right, next we have fantasy. So we have A Dowry of Blood, which I'm going to call romance adjacent. This is the original cover in particular that I love. This is a horror book, horror romance, Dracula's Bride situation. And I think this cover perfectly fits the contents of the story. We really get to see the way the veil covers her face is almost skull-like, which evokes feelings about things, you know? And I just think it does such a good job just for what this story is. Okay, next we have Elise Kova's Dance with the Fae Prince. In particular, I'm going to call out, I do love Deal with the Elf King. This gives me like those like fairy illustrations you would see, but like better. I hope that makes sense. I think this cover is stunning. I think Elise Kova does a really, really good job with her illustrated covers, because even Deal with an Elf King has a wonderful cover. It conveys a lot in the cover. You know this is a fantasy romance. You know what you're getting. There's no surprises to be had. And I think it just does such a good job. Next we have Fortuna Sworn, which is another Fae series that I think does a really good job with the cover. You know this is a fantasy romance situation. You know it's probably going to be a series. And I think there's a lot in this cover and as the covers progress that like showcase the story. So I really like these covers. I think they do a good job for what it is. Then we have Stolen by the Wolves. This is an Omegaverse Viking book. I do need to continue the series. The first one was just very long. But this was an interesting read, and I think this cover fits the book perfectly. It is about these Vikings that show up and steal her away, and off we go on an adventure. And I just feel like the covers have this looming like Viking on them, right? Which like I feel like demonstrates the captive part of this pretty well. Then we have Kimberly Lemming's covers. So I know not everyone loves these, and I do have some critiques for them, but in general, the illustrations for all of Kimberly Lemming's covers I love. So That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Dragon, That Time I Got Drunk and Needed a Love Potion and a Werewolf, and That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Human. I think the text cover, the problem here is the text is so big. There's a lot to put on that cover, but I do think the illustrations Kimberly did for these covers are really, really pretty, and I'm very nervous for what is going to happen when they're reissued. We have one that has nothing on the cover but art and floral, and that is The Crescent Spell. This is a Why Choose romance based off of Howl's Moving Castle, and I feel like the covers fit the book. I feel like they fit the story. I think it works. Normally, I'm not a fan of this style of cover, but for this book, I don't know what else you would do that would work and communicate what the book's about. Then we have Midwinter Mail Order Bride, which I love this cover. I personally just love the way he's like standing behind her looming, and he's like this, they call him a barbarian and like a cruel king and stuff. And she's just kind of like trying to survive this and also save her family. And I think this cover does a lot of communicating on its part for what it is. But there's all the covers I love. Not all of them, some of them. This is a non-comprehensive list of covers I love. This is just to give you an idea of where my cover tastes lean. But yeah, I would love to know in the comments your favorite covers. And if you don't want to do that, you can leave me your favorite heart emoji in the comments. And I will be back in just a few days with my next video, and I'll talk to y'all then. Bye.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know.